Good morning, YouTube family. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be. Welcome to Escape from Crazytown. Hopefully, we find some sanity today together. And welcome to Happy Crappy Hour, where we learn about what we did right this week and we want to keep doing, and what we did badly this week and we learn from it and we stop doing it, right? So, this is a learning time, but also a time for us to share our stories and to feel better about the things we're doing in our life, the direction we're taking. We want to move forward, right? We want to get better. We want a happy, wonderful, beautiful life. And that is where we're headed, you guys. Yes. So today I want to talk about something that's come up a few times in comments, in my comment section of my videos. And a lot of times my viewers want to know why the narcissist or the new supply looks so happy. Why are they looking so happy, right? They My viewers are seeing the new supply seemingly living the life that they've always wanted. Watching the narcissist do all the things with the new supply they've always wanted uh, the narcissist to do with them. So when you're watching that, it is so hard to move forward. It's incredibly hard to get your mind off of them because you become even more entranced in what they are doing. You become even more vested, and you just can't take your eyes off of it because this feeling of either jealousy or anger or frustration, resentment just keeps welling up. And as you continue to watch them, those feelings grow. And as those feelings grow, you want to watch even more. So that's why it is so important to not look that way. You have to turn your head. I remember a long time ago, I was at a church and they were teaching us how to keep from having lustful thoughts, I guess, and they call it bouncing your eyes. And I find myself having to do this a lot as a woman, looking at other women, because nowadays everybody's boobs are hanging out. Even I can't avoid looking at them. I really remember I have a couple of friends actually who've told other women, "Oh my gosh, can you kind of button that up? I can't. I'm a woman. I can't even stop staring at your boobs." I'm sorry, you guys, if that offended you, but it's so true. And I understand it. It's kind of sexy. And I understand people want to show off, if they've got stuff. I get it. I get it. But the weird, crazy thing is that you cannot take your eyes off of it, right? When something is so not even attractive, it might be attractive, but it's like it draws your attention, right? It makes you feel something inside of you, even if it's lust or even if it's resentment. You want to keep watching because these feelings are passionate feelings. So when you have these passionate, deep feelings, you tend to want to pay more attention to what motivates those feelings, right? What's feeding those feelings. And so what we learned about was bouncing our eyes. So this was actually taught to young men and boys when they see women practically undressed, right? And they have to like just bounce, even though their eyes caught that glimpse, they cannot keep feeding their eyes and their mind, right? Otherwise, they're going to go down this hard path to get off of. So they were taught to bounce their eyes. So bounce it onto something else. Look at something else. Look upwards. Look at, to the side. So I would say the same thing in this case. When you are tempted to look at the narcissist, or you may not have even gone looking for what's going on in the narcissist's life, right? You just happen to hear from somebody, from a mutual friend, "Oh my gosh, they just got back from this cruise," or "Oh my gosh, did you see they're engaged now?" Or you see a blip of it on social media. You have to bounce your eyes like as fast as you can. I mean, imagine a burning building if you have to. Imagine that you are walking in, you open a door and you see these giant flames lashing out at you. What are you going to do? Walk in? No, you're going to like slam that door and like run in the other direction, right? You're going to try to get away as fast as you can. So, this is my advice to those of you who are watching your narcissist or your the news supply, the narcissist news supply. So, hey, welcome you guys. So glad to see you hopping on. Obi-Wan, always good to see you. Yes, it's an obstacle illusion. Um, and Monique, good day. Oh, nope, just opened. Okay. And haha, and lover of the truth. Hi, good to see you here. Hey, you guys, the reason that I want to talk about this is because, okay, what do you do once you bounce your eyes, right? What do? You saw a glimpse of their life, and it looks like they're having the time of their life. It looks like they're doing the things, or maybe you just see one thing. Oh my gosh, they went hang gliding. I've always wanted to go hang gliding. Or they just went and visited this country. I've always wanted to go visit that country. They went on a cruise. I've always wanted to go on a cruise. So one little blip of information gets to you about the narcissist or the news supply. Your mind starts to build a story around it if you allow your mind to stay there. So the reason we're talking about this today is because I want you to have a foundation and also a group that will help pull you back into sanity, back to sanity and the truth, because the truth will set you free from this illusion. All right, it's a total illusion that they are putting on, and I like to call it editing for the audience, you guys. So the narcissist is going to highlight the more exciting things that they're doing. They're not going to tell you that for 2 weeks they did nothing but come home from work and wash dishes and pass out because they're so exhausted from their day, or they had the worst day ever at work and they nearly got fired. They're not going to tell you that they and the new supply got into the biggest argument ever that lasted until 5 in the morning and they had to go to work exhausted. They're not going to tell you that they nearly broke up, or that the new supply got pregnant unexpectedly and they had a huge fight over that. They're not going to tell you that the new supplies family hates them. They're not going to tell you that that their car broke down and now they're wiped out financially. They're not going to tell you that people at work hate them, right? They're not going to tell you these things in their Facebook or whatever, right? They're going to tell you that they went on this cruise. Maybe they went on the cruise to escape what was going on at the office, right? Until things calmed down. Maybe they were caught cheating, lying, stealing. Maybe they were caught sleeping with everybody in the office, right? And they knew they better get out of there before it blows up in their face. You see that they've changed jobs and they're highlighting how wonderful their new job is. Well, could it be that they were fired from their old job and they had to get a new job? They're not going to tell you that. So your mind is going to build this beautiful, amazing story that's going to make you feel jealous and angry that they've moved on so well after leaving you. And you're thinking, why is their life looking so perfect? Because they are editing. They are editing the picture for you. They are editing the movie. They call it the editor's wait, what is it? The cutting room floor in movies back when before it was digital. They actually had film that they had to cut strips out of, and then they pasted back together or glued back together or taped back together. Um, but they cut out a whole chunk where it deviated from the story, or where the actors made a mistake or forgot something, or the set fell apart, or there was some loud noise in the background that wasn't supposed to be there. They cut that out, the imperfection, they cut it out. And then what we see when we go to the movies, to the theaters, is the finished, edited product. This is the narcissist's life. It is a movie that they edit together so that other people will feel jealous of them, so that other people will feel like they're missing out, and so that other people actually would admire them, right? They want to be admired. They want people to be jealous of them. And they want you, especially if you discarded them. And if even if they had discarded you, they want you to miss them. They want you to think that you are missing out. So they're not going to show you what's going on in their life. And nobody, I shouldn't say nobody, because we do have some people who are kind of exhibitionists and they will show you everything that's going on in their life, their whole ugly, dirty laundry. They'll air it all out on social media, maybe to garner sympathy. And narcissists will be very selective about that type of information too, by the way. They might share a death in the family of a relative they barely even knew or hardly had a relationship with, even though should be a close relative, could be a parent, could be a brother or sister. And they will play that up like, they're just going through such a hard time and they want sympathy. But for the most part, narcissists will not share the tragedies in their life, especially real tragedies in their life that are affecting them. They want you to feel jealous of them, or they want to give you enough of the negative stuff to feel sorry and sympathy for them. So, you guys, editing, that is what they're doing. When you catch a glimpse of part of their movie, don't stay and watch the whole thing. It will ruin you. It will ruin your mind. It will ruin your heart. It will ruin your, I don't want to say life, but it'll ruin your day and possibly your week and maybe months, okay? For months. They are not going to show you the truth. They're not going to show you how there are documentaries out there. Documentaries are meant to be exposés, right? To expose you to what reality and the truth is. It's going to be real investigative journalism going into documentaries where they interview actual people who went through the incident. They interview people who were witness to it. They on both sides, or on all sides. And it's not a movie. Documentaries are different than movies. When you see a glimpse of what's going on with a narcissist, it is not a documentary. But for some reason, we imagine it to be a documentary. We imagine it to be, oh, this beautiful, wonderful life they're living. And how in the world are they able to have such a, incredible luck? Well, they spin it. Just like in politics, they're spinning the story so that you buy their story, so that you believe their story. You can turn a negative, horrible story like them losing their job into something to be jealous of, because they'll, instead of saying I lost my job and I had to get this new one and it took me 3 months before I could find a new job, they're going to say, oh my gosh, I moved into this really wonderful job and I love it so much better, so much more than my old one. This is so great. I'm having the time of my life, meeting new people, doing the things I really want to do. That is spinning the story for you. It's not reality. But they can spin it that way and then convince themselves of it. Well, you guys, also, I want to let you know that there are people who are aware of what's going on in a narcissist's life. It's going to be the new supply, by the way. The new supply knows exactly what's going on behind closed doors. The new supply knows that it's a total show. But for a while, to save face, excuse me, you guys, got to have a drink. In order to save face, the new supply is going to keep up the charade. They're going to want to pretend that everything is as wonderful because they start to see people congratulating them or paying attention to them or saying, oh, I wish I could do what you're doing. Oh, you're so lucky. Oh, you found the best person ever. I wish I could find someone like that. And then they feel so special, right? They feel so special and they want to keep that feeling going. So they're going to go along with the facade. They're going to go along with the movie version of life. They're not going to tell you all the things that I had laid out earlier at the beginning of this video, of all the things that are going wrong in their life and in their relationship and the unexpected horrible things that are happening to them. They're not going to tell you about the times the narcissist explodes on them or cheated on them or treated them like dirt or threatened to leave them or threatened to hurt themselves because, the new supply wanted to go, but the narcissist is begging and begging. They're not going to tell you all of that because they've got to keep the charade going. So when you catch a little glimpse and you're like, oh, why are they so happy? It's not fair. Why am I so miserable? I can barely get myself motivated to get out of bed each day. You're feeling so miserable because you're imagining that they're living this perfect life that you've always wanted. And it's not even real. You're desiring something that's not real. And you know how you know this? Because you had a relationship with the narcissist. You know exactly how they behave. You've seen their outbursts. You've seen when they flip the switch. You've seen how badly they treat other people and how badly they talk about other people. You even heard how they talked about their ex before you. So you know them. You have been behind those closed doors. So when you were behind those closed doors and other people were on the other side, remember how you used to help the narcissist portray the movie. Remember that. So another reason though that narcissists, it seems like they, it might not even be just one thing that you see. It might be 4 or 5 or 6 things that you see glimpses of in their life that seems to be going right for them. They got this brand new amazing car. They got they got engaged. They went on a trip. They're buying their first house, whatever it might be, right? You're seeing this slew of things happening for them. And you're thinking, well, that can't be just one thing. It's like I'm seeing so many things. But think about your own life. There are many things that happen in your own life. And if you wanted to highlight every single good thing in your life or spin it to look like something good, it would look just as good as the narcissist story. It would. But here's the other thing. The narcissist knows how to spin these stories. They know how to reinvent themselves on social media. They know how to highlight certain things. They'll even purposefully do things in their life so that they can highlight it on social media. Like even if they cannot afford a new car right now, they're going to get one so that they can brag about it. Even if they're not really going to get a house, but they're looking for a house right now, they're going to highlight that and tell everybody, I'm about to buy my first house, even if their business is doing so badly, but they get one day where things start to look better in their business, they're going to highlight that. Oh, I made the biggest sale ever just yesterday. But they're not going to tell you that for the last 6 months, they've been in bankruptcy court. They've been ready to file bankruptcy and then they had one good day. They're not going to tell you that, but they're going to reinvent themselves on social media to look like a total success. And part of that is possibly to get business, right? To get somebody to fall for them. They also are able to move on momentarily. So even though we might have things that, obstacles in our life that seem to debilitate us for maybe weeks, maybe months, right? Losing a job, getting a really negative manager in our life. We start to stew on that, right? We start to bubble on that, and we're simmering on that, and we don't move forward. But the narcissists, they jump from tragedy to tragedy to tragedy. They don't stay in one usually for very long, right? Although they do stew on resentment and grudges. They do hold on to resentment and grudges. But as far as their life goes, they're kind of ADD. They can bounce from thing to thing to thing. And even though they're actually running from each thing in their life, it might actually look like they're moving forward, it might actually look like, from our perspective, like they're able to move on unscathed and health in a healthy way and having this great life. But what they're really doing is running from their past. And they can only run for so long before either they run out of money or they run out of friends or they just get tired and get old and they're no longer running. So then they have to kind of start pulling into themselves where they are. That's when they stay put. And then you wonder what's really going on with them, because they kind of, excuse me, they kind of disappear for a while, right? You suddenly don't hear about them anymore for even from months, possibly, on social media. You're like, wow, they used to post all the time, and now they're you don't ever hear anything from them. That's their transition time or their decline time. You're not, they're not going to post about that. So, another thing that I wanted to share with you is that narcissists, even though they're showing that they're going out all the time, oh man, you guys must not have had enough water this morning. But even though they're going out all the time, they seem like they're surrounded by people all the time. They're going from dinner party or out to dinner with people, or barbecues, and they just seem to always be active. Well, part of that is, narcissists generally are very active people. They are very social people that need supply. They need to be around other people to draw that energy and attention, and what propels them, right? What feeds them. They need to get that from other people. So that's why they're always going from group to group to group and doing things, and it looks like they're active. But honestly, they are very lonely people. And the reason I say they're lonely is because in the dark of night, when they're alone, even when the new supply is there sleeping away, right? The narcissist is fully aware of how alone they are because they cannot show people what's behind the mask. They have to keep the movie going because they're afraid that if they show people what's really going on inside of them, people won't like them. People won't be impressed with them. People won't be fooled by the image they want to portray. So in the dark of night, in the wee hours, right, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, they're searching, either online or even just driving around town. They're searching for relationship. They want to have connection with people, and they can't even really have a connection with the new supply. They're using the new supply. They think the new supply is an idiot. So they don't really trust the new supply. They don't feel like they can really tell the new supply everything. Now, they can be fully ugly with the new supply and have breakdowns in front of the new supply. But these quiet, dark times of loneliness, they do not share with the new supply because it is their weakness moment. They're not going to share that with the new supply because they don't trust the new supply and because they don't respect the new supply. They think the new supply is a total fool because they fooled the new supply so many times, lied to the new supply, gaslit the new supply so much that they're just in disbelief that the new supply is still sticking around, right? They're in disbelief that the new supply will put up with their lies and abuse and just all of that. And they see the news. They watch as they manipulate the new supply too. I mean, they actually will get the new supply to admit or change their story 180 degrees. And then they just sit there and watch the new supply do this. It's like a cat and mouse thing with them and the new supply. They're not going to share their life and their real self with the new supply. I mean, they'll share their ugly, mean, that self. But the truth, they're not going to share that with the new supply. So they're going to be lonely. And here we are, we're thinking, but they look like they're so happy and have all these friends and are always active and going on, excursions or trips or activities. They don't seem like they're lonely at all. That's because after their quiet, dark moment, the next day, this is actually one thing that I think um, we're all capable of doing, but we don't allow ourselves because we tend to mull things over, and sadness and depression and all that sets in. Whereas not news supply, the narcissist, even though they deal with it very quickly, like their life is in fast forward. Their life is on fast forward always, like 1.5 speed or 2 double speed. They're watching their life in double speed, and nothing happens fast enough for them. So what happens the next morning is they start trying to find a next thing to fill that hole, to fill that emptiness, to fill that darkness, and they move on to the next thing. And that's why their life looks so full. But here's the deal, you guys. They're not doing the real work. They're not doing the real work that fixes what causes the trauma in their life, what that causes people to not trust them, that causes people to leave them, that causes people to actually hate them, right? They're not going to do the real work to change. They're just running from thing to thing, person to person, event to event, trying to reinvent themselves every time because they have to keep the movie going. Otherwise, it'll catch up with them, and they cannot allow that. Oh, another thing that narcissists love to do. I'm going to go into that in a second, but I want to see some of the comments here. There. Yes, lover of the truth says, I'm so glad you are saying this. Yes, that is the first step. Step is to learn what you are dealing with. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are. Obi says, my current threatened to punch me in the face. Yeah. I told her I wish you did hit me so I can call the cops because I don't want to go to jail for hitting chicks. Never again give me a threat. The new supply, yes, says the new supply is you before the breakup. So remember that whatever you're imagining, this wonderful life that the new supply must be having because they're posting all these wonderful pictures and posts. And I'm telling you right now, bounce your eyes. Do not stay there. Do not dwell on their pictures and their posts because you will create the movie for them. They don't even have to write out the script. You're going to write out this crazy, wonderful script in their life. But the reason that you're seeing this and then imagining everything is perfect for them is because you forgot. You forgot that at one point you were the new supply and how fooled you were, right? How deceived you were. And then not only that, but how manipulated you were to do the narcissist bidding, to uphold their movie, their version, their illusion to the public and to the audience, right? Whoever's watching them. Well, one of the things I wanted to say about the narcissist is maybe the last thing, I don't know yet. There's so much to say, but one of the things that the narcissist also does that kind of conceals their loneliness is they will indulge in fantasy world. All right, and by fantasy world, what I mean is they will go into shows or watch shows or dramas. What do you call it? Like, why can't I think? Soap operas type shows, right? They love the drama that's in the soap opera type shows, and I don't want to say it's just daytime soap operas. There are nighttime soap operas, you guys, that are very well written with a great script and very talented people writing the discord, or not discord, but the discourse between the actors, and it's enticing, it's gripping, it's interesting. But the narcissist will indulge in these movies and shows, series, mini series, whatever they are, and and escape from their real life, right? Because they imagine even having relationships with the characters on the show. The characters on the shows become even more real to the narcissist than real people in their life. I know this narcissist who actually will feel sad when something happens to one of her favorite characters in a show. If that character has an accident and becomes paralyzed or something like that, um, or the love of their life. And this is just a character in a show. The the love of that person's life or character's life walks out on them, cheats on them. This narcissist will actually mourn with the character, like for days. It's so bizarre. I mean, I understand like these movies and things are supposed to evoke feelings in us, and that's what gets us hooked on the shows, okay? I get that. But we don't dwell on it for days and think about that character and what they must be going through and oh my gosh, the way that other character treated them was so wrong and unfair and you know the narcissist will go all on emotional about made up fictional characters in a show. But then in their real life, when they see their cousin going through something, or when they see their best friend going through something, I use that term best friend loosely, by the way, maybe someone they've known for a long time. When they see their own children going through something, there's no sympathy, there's no emotion, there's no concern. It's just bizarre. So, this is another reason why narcissists are lonely. They invest more into shows, TV shows, or made for, Showtime and made for HBO or made for, I don't even know those guys are still around, made for Netflix shows. And they invest themselves more in those fictional storylines than they do in real life relationships. They connect themselves to characters in a show rather than real people in their life. And that's why they're so lonely. And the reason they don't connect with people in real life is because real relationships require work. Real relationships require work, you guys. It requires compromise, sacrifice. It requires you to be considerate of the other person. It requires you to be respectful of them and to maybe even hold your tongue when you want to have an outburst, but you're like, okay, no, I gotta be calm and think this through before I say something I regret and hurt the relationship. And it requires you to not speak your mind at times and just allow the other person to vent, right, about whatever they're going through in their life. It requires you to be there for the person, even when you don't feel like being there, because they've been there for you. It's a give and take. That's what real relationships are. Narcissists are not good with that. They're good at giving at times, but then they hold you to that for the rest of your life, as if you owe them for the rest of your life for the one thing they've done for you. Um, or they, when you call them in times of crisis, they're going to be like, not now. I have other things going on. I have a party to go to. Or, I'm going out on this date and I don't need to talk with you because even though you're really in crisis right now, they're not going to be there for you. They put themselves first. If it, they'll do some things like kind of along the way if it's convenient for them and it looks like, oh, they are considerate, they are thoughtful, they are there for you sometimes. But it's only if it's really convenient for them. If it's actually inconvenient for them, they could not care less. They could not care less. They are not going to be emotionally involved. They are not going to be connected to you in the same way. that they connect themselves with fictional characters. It is really quite crazy and sad. It's really actually sad. You want to connect with them. There are narcissists in my life I want to connect with, and I try to connect with, but they are more interested in connecting with fictional characters on shows than they are connecting with real live people who want to have experiences with them, build memories with them, live life with them, invite them to things where they actually can share in your life. They're not interested in that. They're not interested in what your kids are doing. They're not interested in what your relatives accomplished. They're not interested in what your spouse has done that was good. Um, they just want and this is for the old timers here, Reader's Digest version, okay? If you don't know what Reader's Digest is, it was this publication. I guess it's still around. I don't know where. And essentially, this is what we get a lot of times in magazines: the magazine version, which is not the book version, right? It's the abridged version. It's a small snippet. They only want to know the edited version. Give me the edited version, and then move on. And they're not interested in all the nitty gritty detail and how you felt and what challenges you have now because of this incident. They just want the detail, the nitty gritty, very edited version, and then they want to give you quick advice and then be done. Like, move on to the next thing now. But when it comes to them, they want you to hear every detail. They want you to agree to every delusion that they have about other people. They want to be able to accuse people with no evidence and then expect you to believe them. But they won't do any of that, of course, for you. It's a total double standard. And this is why they are so alone. They don't have people who can understand them, because we don't. We just don't understand the narcissist. When you try to get into the mind of a narcissist, you're going to feel like you're going insane because there's no rhyme or reason. They change their story, they change position, they change even supposed facts, right? They change the details of the story. And you're like, wait a minute. Last week you told me something else happened. And then this week you're telling me something else happened. So you don't know what the heck's going on. When you try to get into a narcissist's mind and see what makes them tick, you're going to feel like you're going absolutely insane because you cannot keep it straight, because it's not straight. It's just whatever whim they have at the moment, whatever storyline they want to tell, however they want to spin that story, that's how they're going to do it. So you know, after having been with the narcissist, how awful and how deranged and how inconsistent, how hypocritical the narcissist is. It is hard to understand. It is hard to connect to someone like that. And that is why the narcissist feels so alone. To them, it makes sense, right? When they're being completely hypocritical, it makes sense to them somehow. It's weird. They call this mental gymnastics, you guys. This term has been tossed around a lot in the last few years. But when I think of mental gymnastics, I think of that. I think of how narcissists live. They have to jump around in their heads, twirling, somersaulting, they changing directions. They cannot stay straight on a course with truth and facts and stay consistent. So because of this, when they're in that dark, quiet, late night, early morning moment, I guess, 4 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, something like that, when they're the only one still awake, that's when they realize to themselves that nobody understands them. And they think that's other people's problems, right? They think it's because of other people that people don't understand them. So they do feel alone. They do feel like, I wish there were more people like me. And then the crazy thing is when they meet another narcissist, at first it'll seem like they hit it off perfectly because they're running on the same um, treadmill, I guess, if you want to say it. But they're running on the same path for a while of insanity until they collide, until their narratives go against each other, right? Until their perspectives are the opposite. Then they will clash like never before, like no people you've ever seen, like fists flying, hair pulling, knocking out teeth. It is horrible to watch two narcissists together. Um, but at first, it just seems like all cylinders are running perfectly together. And I think for a moment, the narcissist actually feels like, somebody who understands me. But then, of course, the relationship falls apart and they end up tormenting each other. And then they realize again that they really, truly are alone because nobody can follow their psychopathic thinking. Nobody can. It's just so inconsistent. Well, you guys, that is most of what I want to share with you today. The last thing I want to share with you, though, is a good thing, is a high note. The one thing the narcissists don't do, and it looks like they're so happy and all that, but here's the deal. One thing they don't do that actually gives them true happiness, because then they can have real relationships and they can have real healing in their life and be able to actually move on, not just be jumping from platform to platform or lily pad to lily pad, trying to stay away from what's coming at them from behind, right? From the consequences of the choices they've made and the people they've hurt and the things they've done. They're jumping from lily pad to lily pad. What they're not doing is finding real healing, of fixing the mistakes they've made in the past, of genuinely rebuilding and setting real foundations. And the one thing they don't do that would help them do all of this, and they don't have this, which you can have, sometimes we don't have this, it is humility, right? The humility to admit what you need to change or what you need to work on. Narcissists don't have that, but we do. We can have that humility. Now, sometimes we mistake shame for humility, or we mistake guilt for humility. It's not humility. Humility actually is truth, completely full of truth, and helps you to see yourself as you really are. Shame only makes you feel less than what you are, and it's debilitating. It's almost as debilitating as pride, all right? Where the shame will hold you down and keep you from getting out of bed, will keep you from moving forward, will keep you from actually doing the work you need to do to fix the things you need to fix in your life. But humility is like a documentary, right? A documentary lens rather than a movie lens. It's going to be the lens that allows you to see yourself like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I lowered my standards to this point, that I am ashamed of that, but I'm humble enough to admit that that needs to change. I'm humble enough to admit I want to change that. And this is where you can change and really make a difference and grow in your life and heal in your life. And not only that, but actually build relationships, deep and meaningful relationships with other people. Well, you guys, I want to see what comments. Let me see, mixed up with one of these monsters. What is TBIOB one? Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys, thank you so much for hopping on. I hope that this has helped you to see if the narcissist really is happy. You have to bounce your eyes, make sure you don't stay on that narrative or watching that movie. It's like you walk, like I said before, like you open a door and you think you're going to be walking into this nice room, maybe into a banquet or into a party, and instead you see these hot, tall flames coming at you and trying to come out the door. You're going to slam that door and run. This is what you need to do when you catch a glimpse of the narcissist's life, or even the new supply's life with the narcissist. When you hear somebody mention something about them, you have to shut the door on that. You have to walk away. If that person's still talking about them, walk away. You have to ignore that person, or try to get away from whoever's trying to tell you about the narcissist and the new supply, because they're just reiterating the movie that they're watching, right? They're not giving you the truth. They're not giving you the whole story. They're just giving you the highlights that the narcissist or the new supply wants their audience to watch or to know. So I hope that you will practice this week and bounce your eyes, bounce your mind, get your mind off of them as fast as you can, and remind yourself, though, of what it was like with them. And that is the narrative, that's the documentary that you need to be running in your head. You have the documentary of the narcissist because you've been there in real life with the narcissist. Run the documentary in your mind. Do not pay attention to the edited movie that the narcissist or the new supply is running. Well, you guys, that is all that I have to share with you today. I hope that you'll be able to move forward. I hope that you'll be able to grow. And I know you can, actually. I totally have full confidence in you guys. I love your comments. Thank you so much for commenting on this video. Don't forget to hit the like button, share the video. I'm going to be coming out with the edited, or no, what do I call it now? The shorter recap. Yeah, the happy crappy recap of this video for those who don't have a lot of time. Sometimes in those recaps, I come up with new things actually that come to mind that are not shared on the long version. So I would encourage you to watch the recap. It's not just me editing the long version. It's me giving you the highlights that I think are important, but then also any new things that came to my mind afterwards. If you can watch that, that'd be great. Share that with people that you know just need a recap. And I will see you next week. Oh, don't forget to watch some of the commercials. That would really help. I know that they're annoying, but watch a part of it, like 30 seconds of it, if they're really long commercials. And or let one run for a while. Go do something. Have a bathroom break. Make a sandwich, right? All right, you guys. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. I appreciate all of you. And, oh, thank you, Obi. Now I understand. Oh, that's rough. That is rough. Yeah. Well, you guys, have a great week. And I will talk more on that, Obi, next week if you want to talk about that. Sorry, I caught that at the end of the show. But blessings to all of you guys, and I will see you next week.